I sound like a newsreader. Scared myself. Sophia, you're here with us again.
Yes,
Thank
I
you
am.
so much.
Oh, yes, I am. Thank you.
No worries. A Frederick as well, as I've learnt. Frederick the Clicking Monster?
He's a little repo man. Oh, thank you very much, Nima. Turning on the mic would be pretty good.
That's why teamwork is really important in all events. We have heard a little bit about your day job already, but I wondered if you could tell us, like, you wake up, what do you do?
That's a
I'm sorry.
That's a great
question. My specialty
question.
is sending people into existential crises, so like I started strong.
No, it's all right. I mean, coffee is definitely high on the list there. Existential dread and a shower also high on the list. I don't know. I'm a bit of a workaholic, if I'm being honest. My day mostly centers around like anything except not working.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I'm pretty bad at like time management. So the mornings, the first thing that I try and do is like reserve time for myself. I work better at night. So morning is reserved for those self-care ideals.
Love it. Gotta have a balance.
Yeah.
Gotta have a balance. Talked a little bit also about your journey into this industry. Could you step that out just a little bit? So when did you decide, like, I want to work in gaming or adjacent fields in the digital sphere? Let's go with that.
So I actually grew up not playing games. It wasn't because my parents were necessarily anti-tech. It was just something that in the area that I lived in was not particularly that accessible or normal, really. A couple of my friends here and there had PlayStations and things like that, but my house didn't. So my brother was quite a bit older than me. We have about a 20-year age gap. So when he moved out, he got his first console, which he then promptly shafted onto me because he upgraded to PlayStation 3, and he was like, here you go, Sophia, you can have this fucking PlayStation 2.
PS2 is one of my favourite consoles. I don't know if that's controversial.
No.
It's like, that's what I grew up with.
It's a banger. It's a banger. So when I got this PlayStation 2, I was so hyped. I was so excited to have my first console. And so the minute that I knew that I wanted to work in gaming was just my first, at the time, I still consider them AAA. My first game ever was Okami by Clover Studio and Capcom. And that was when I was like, that game in particular, Okami, has a very distinct art style and a very distinct animation style. It's all 2D calligraphy, if you aren't familiar with it. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, my little 12-year-old brain, who had never really played a video game before, was like, whoa, people do this? Like, I can work,
that could be a job.
I can do this? And ever since then, I was just like, that's it. All right, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life, and here I am. Yep.
Amazing. Has that become a kind of touchstone for you when you're like, the days where it's a bit harder to work in the industry, to be like remembering that moment? Sorry, I'm only asking the
that's all
questions.
right. Days that are hard in the industry. I guess so. It's a bit of a difficult, I guess, what grounds me in those difficult days. Yeah. That is definitely a part of it. I definitely do remember little 12-year-old me booting up this really raggedy PlayStation 2 that my brother and his friends threw around the room. But yeah, grounding me, definitely remembering why I'm here. Yeah. And honestly, I definitely have moments, or for a long time I've believed that my God-given purpose on this earth is to make games. And so, on those difficult days, I just try and remember that. I try and be grateful for the opportunities I do have. That's my answer.
Amazing. You, in your talk, you talked about a game you're working on.
Yes.
Is there anything you can share? I don't want you to
No.
I don't want to make you share things, but I'm interested to how did that come about? What is it about?
Yeah, so my game is called ORACULUS. It is a 2D visual novel and much akin to, so when I was growing up, my mum and I, our bonding experience really was I would sit next to her. Sorry, this is going to be a very like Asian thing, but we would,
I'm already like, this is the most adorable thing I've heard.
I don't know if you know taugeh. It's a bean sprout. So my mum in particular, and a lot of Asian mums in general, are very particular about like tearing the bottom of the bean sprout off to clean the bean sprout before. Yeah, a couple people nodding in the audience. Yep. So my mum and I, and also mint leaves. My mum was like anti-mint leaf stalk. So together we would sit on our couch, and she would be forcing me into the labour of cracking all the ends of this the taugeh off. And we would watch her favourite shows, which were stuff like Agatha Christie's Poirot, Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries.
Solid.
Yeah, Murder on the Orient Express, like all of those, all of those really popular mysteries. My mum, like, I don't know if anyone's watched like Paradise, what's it called? Like Paradise.
Oh no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I forgot what it's called.
Murder on this island.
Murder in Paradise, that's the one. Anything that's like remotely on BritBox, my mum is such a fan of. And we'd watch that together. So ORACULUS, aside from that, I would also play music for my mum. I grew up playing piano, I grew up playing the flute, and the recorder, amongst a lot of other things. And so I would be put to work, but also watching stuff like this with my mum, but also playing music for her. And so ORACULUS is kind of a three-way combination of all of those things. It's a 2D mystery visual novel, much akin to any novel by Agatha Christie, with like a three-act like whodunit, mixed with a musical, and mixed with mystery and murder and mayhem, and it's all the encapsulation of all of my quirkiness and eccentricism into this game.
Perfect. I mean, I'm very excited to play it eventually.
I'm like,
could I do the quality assurance? No. Thank you. If you need someone, I could probably take over from the automated clicking. If that
there we go. Just click
if you want to de-automate that. I'm here. So, of course, you also have another life outside of games in general.
Oh, God. I'm happy to answer that. I did see this question on the list. I'm happy to answer it.
Okay. They're both very different. Well, I mean, in some ways very different, in some ways very similar. How do you balance this? How do you kind of like live these two almost different spheres, I guess, in your life? Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Again, the most existential way I could have worded
No,
that.
that's all right. So vague posting aside, I have a career being a Japanese pop idol. I was underneath a previous agency and have recently moved agencies. I have performed in Melbourne, performed like overseas, performed in Sydney sometimes. Kind of all the time. I like disassociate most of the time on this. And therefore that's why I have a second name that was given to me by the people. Balancing these lives, that's a really good question.
The answer can be that you don't. It's so
No, I mean, like, I try my best to compartmentalize when between these areas. Idol is a chance for me to be active and to engage with the community, it's also like a fitness aspect thing. We normally do shows of about an hour, and that's kind of taxing on the body in a way, but like in a good way. And games is kind of like an extension of that, especially ORACULUS, where I do sing in this alter ego, if you will. But I also sing.
I'm going to say in the game, that's why I made that face. I'm like,
I do sing in the game. I normally do, when I'm crafting songs for ORACULUS, I have to send a demo version to the voice actors and the singers beforehand so they know what notes to hit. It's a lot easier than sending like automated demos, which is some people like to give like a piano top line instead. But for me, it's like easier that the voice actor knows the emotion and that we're targeting. So I like cringe at myself in the booth. I'm like, yeah. Anyway,
I love it. I'm just going to give you a little clap for just that.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm like,
no, it's okay.
I should have done that thing where I highlighted different ones to be like, here's where you go next.
No,
and
just
then
we ball.
We just
ball. We ball.
Yeah. You have already given us a lot of advice about how to apply for jobs. Do you have any advice for like then working in a role? So this comes from, I've recently, not in games, before I say this, I recently got a role as an academic. I was told my whole career that I wouldn't be able to get a job. And then I got one and, yeah, thank you. But I was like, what do I do now? Like, what do I do with this, like, huge, 7 years you told me I wouldn't have a job and now I do. If someone like me, but in games, is in that position, what would your advice be?
So someone who said that they were never going to get a job.
But then they get one.
But then they get
say
one.
Quality assurance.
Right. That's a complicated question. Just because because we're referencing quality assurance in games is often seen as like a stepping stone job, where people actually, it's quite like known across the games industry that QA is used as like a pivoting discipline. You normally enter through QA because it's normally referenced as a junior to mid job, and then you go into design, programming, or art. Like if you find yourself in a QA job, commit to it. I, like from my own personal experience being in QA, I just wanted to do the best that I could. I got this job. I was really grateful for it. I am aware of how difficult it is to land entry-level positions. Every day I was very grateful for my job. And keeping that in mind and being like, I just want to make the best games that I can, the best experiences that I can. Definitely the mindset to try and target, especially because recruiters love that. They love, quirky, invested little individuals. And yeah.
Awesome, thank you. That's a really good answer. What does then like the day-to-day look like? Partially this is also my ignorance. What's the day-to-day kind of, I'm going to start again. What does the day-to-day look like when you're doing quality assurance testing? Is this like, I'm super unfamiliar with this. Is it like, I'm going to play this whole game? Or is it like, I've got to play this 5 seconds over and over and over again? Like what, if we saw into your world, what would we see?
Sure. Normally it starts with a stand-up. This is like a 15 to 10 minute meeting with your entire team that's working on the game. Could also just be with yourself and the QA team and a project manager, kind of allocating responsibilities, especially if you're working on a team of more than 3 to 5 people. And then a majority of my work in my experience was feature testing. So what happens in QA is that when you're developing a game, you normally have some sort of like ticketed interface like Jira, where there are different columns on the Jira board. It's normally like, this is planned feature, it's finished, it's in the engine, and it's ready to test, being the last one. QA, in my experience, will pick stuff out of this ready to test column to test whether it's actually been implemented and fits an acceptance criteria in the game. So on these game tickets or on these feature tickets, the project manager for this project will normally list out an acceptance criteria for all of the elements that the feature has to hit. Does it react in a certain way? Does it look a certain way? Is it, does it do this certain thing? If it doesn't, then a QA will look at it, they'll test it in the engine, and then they'll knock it back if it doesn't. And then fight with the dev.
Yeah, I was going to say, like that feels like there could be then tension being like, look, you didn't work the way you said it.
You have to be prepared to like scuffle, like fisticuffs with a dev. Me and Aylin fought all the time. The most detrimental thing was our desks were put together.
You guys are now working together again. Is that?
Yeah. Look, because our desks were together at Chaos Theory, so anytime I would knock back a ticket, it's just like I can feel the energy shifting in the room. And I'm like, sorry, dude, it's not. And then Aylin comes back with something like, no, dude, it's in there. And I'm like, no, it's not. Look at this. And that's like conflict aversion in QA.
I mean, suppose it does teach you that, right? To be like, well, I've got to say, no, it is wrong.
Yeah,
like, I've got to be assertive in that way. And vice versa. I'm not going to take sides in this.
You should, and it's always a QA side. Devs, they never be checking their own features. Other than feature testing, one of the reasons that I was brought on as a QA at Chaos Theory was because they were at the tail end of releasing Crab God, which was their own intellectual property. And so they needed to expand the team to cover the release testing. Release testing is kind of like a broad term, and it umbrellas a lot of different testing, but the main things were making sure that the game hit certain checklists for being released on Steam, making sure that it runs at a certain frames per second, like all of these quite broad things, that we have something called user acceptance test cases, where it's just like a long Excel sheet with lots of checklists about how things should be running, and if they're not running, then it's not ready to launch. And that was a lot of what I did, was testing whether the game was ready to launch on these platforms, or whether, because platforms, if you don't know, they have very rigid checklists for releasing on them, especially like virtual reality for Meta. They have really, really rigid testing. And it costs tons of money if you miss those deadlines. So QA is really important in that aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. Fundamentally important, but more important than devs. Or I won't. You can say yes. It's okay. It's very far away.
He's gonna hit me with a car soon.
This is another big one that isn't on the list. If you could make any game. Mm-hmm. Any game. So like you have absolutely everything at your disposal, all the time, all the money in the world. What game would it be?
Single player narrative RPG.
Okay. Lots of loaded. About what? What's the what's the setting? What's the story?
Yeah, I mean my personal games preference, I suppose, or games that I normally play are single player narrative RPGs. It's because I'm a pretty narrative focused person. I do enjoy games that have complicated mechanic systems. At the moment, my hyperfixation at the moment is Dragon Age, which is a very
solid choice.
Solid choice.
Lots of history in that one, just saying. So.
Yeah, lots of history. And Cyberpunk 2077 and these games.
Awesome.
I love the amount of thought that goes into dialogue choices and story, narrative, but also getting to interact with a vivid world that a team of people have created for you. If I had $1 billion and...
it's not, sorry,
it's right.
The system's turned off.
That's right.
Sorry.
If I had $1 billion, I would make a Love Island RPG where it's multiplayer and it's like a couples game, but you're on this Ninja Warrior course where you guys have to it's basically Peak, but the Olympics, but Ninja Warrior, and you have to, but with love. I
definitely missed a little bit, but I'm into it.
Look, we're still in pre-production. We're still working the kinks out on this one.
That's right. I mean, you've got all the time and money in the world. That was the parameter. So you've got time. You can do a lot of quality assurance. You can keep working on the storyline. Awesome. If you could give kind of one piece of advice to everyone in the room about getting into this industry, what would it be?
Commit.
100%. Be a workaholic?
No, mean, maybe not. So one of the things that I kind of notice in people who get hired in games, because from my experience, because of the class that I was in, I've kind of, and the people that ended up in industry, and a lot of talks that I've gone to about the things that, basically the extent and how far you have to go to be able to enter the industry as a junior, especially. You can't be flip-floppy about what you want to do. If you want to be in games, you really have to work hard to be in games. This was something that I learned like when I was applying for jobs, like in my first year at AIE. I honestly, like, I genuinely suffered more broadening my options. And by suffering, I need to specify that means that my ability to really focus in on applying for games jobs was very lackluster, because I kept thinking like, oh, there's option B, option C, I can go into different forms of tech. Games, especially how lucrative it is in Sydney, is really not like that, especially for juniors. If you want to be in games, you have to have your heart in it. You can't be wishy-washy, and narrow in, focus in, lock in, if you will.
Do you think part of that is because the industry is small in Australia and small in Sydney, so you kind of need to show you have that dedication?
Yeah. So Sydney's industry is quite small. I mean, like the Australian games industry compared to, say, like the States is quite small. And then also in Melbourne is also quite small, Sydney especially so. Like I saw this, I think it was like a stats sheet from IGEA that they just put out, where it's like listing all of the Australian studios that are above like AA but still had some indies on there. There's like 8 in Sydney. And like in Melbourne, there was at least like, 15 plus or something. But Sydney does have a small proportion of our games industry, or like a smaller proportion of the games industry in comparison to Melbourne.
But mighty.
Small but mighty. But yeah, like because of how lucrative these jobs are, I always say to people that are applying, like if you really want to be in games, you have to lock in and be in games. I know that sounds like very detrimental, but in my personal experience, that is what really helped me get over the line, where I was like, this is what I want to do, and I'm just going to focus in on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you always know that you were going to do quality assurance, kind of that area, or were you like how early did you make that decision to go, I'm going to focus on that, I'm going to focus on getting in there, rather than, I don't know, like trying to get in somewhere else, even though I know you said it's like often the first stop.
No, fantastic question. I trained up in design actually when I was in uni, and even back then it was still a common sentiment that QA was a stepping stone. However, the way that I treated it was, am I going to be happy working in QA for the rest of my life if I'm not able to pivot to a different discipline? So I made that choice and I committed to working in QA.
And I guess allowed yourself to be invested in like, this is where I'm going to be, this is where I want to be.
And genuinely, when I started working in quality assurance and being able to, experience communication with different faculties and all of these things, I would genuinely be happy if I was working in QA for the rest of my life. And that's something that is very valuable in a QA tester, again, because of the context around how QA is viewed in, the greater scene. But yeah.
It makes sense then that you're very keen on mentoring and having other people kind of, I guess, come into the space.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's hard. It is so hard. I know that this is a good feature, but I really despise how LinkedIn shows you how many people apply for the job.
Yeah, no, I hate it too.
I remember for the position that I was going for at Chaos Theory back in the day, there was like 311 applicants for that job. And then very, very similar, like there have been listings between SMG recently and there was another one, Every Technologies, Konami, some of the companies that I was mentioning. The application rates are high. They are high and it is very competitive. So like literally any knowledge or expertise that I can share or any way that I could help for people that are really willing to reach out and like do the work, I'm happy to give it. Like I personally would have really valued having a mentor in QA back when I was doing that. And that's the opportunity that I want to give to anyone who wants to take it.
Amazing. I mean, that's a good place to end on a bit of a, remember, add Sophia on LinkedIn.
Add me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Happy.
Thank you so much for joining us here today and bringing your expertise.
Yeah, thank you. Yep, thank you. Yay! Oh, yeah.